KSU Careers in Tech.
So, hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you also for coming and watch us. So today we're going to talk about the careers in tech, the opportunities for the students, what companies can benefit from having education, formal education in blockchain, and so on. So maybe you would like to first start introducing yourself?
So I'm Joshua Ellul. I run the Center for DLT at the University of Malta, and we have a master's in blockchain that takes in legal students, technology students, and business students.
I'm Nicole. I'm a manager at Tech.mt. I just also finished the master's Joshua just mentioned.
My name is Bradley Debono. I'm currently representing MCAST and KSM. Basically, I think blockchain and the industry is currently very much advancing, especially in Malta. So, and MCAST as well is offering a lot of courses where more students are joining such courses due to their interests as well.
So thank you very much. The first question that I'd like to ask to you guys, because I think this is a question that a lot of people must ask themselves, what are the benefits of having formal education in blockchain? Because I think for a lot of people in this room and perhaps beyond, a lot have started with YouTube videos or still watching a lot of YouTube videos. So maybe they don't really see the benefit of having formal education. So what would be your take on that?
So I'm going to be biased, right? And I'm going to sell it. But then Nicole actually did it, and she can give her honest opinion. So the particular program, we expose students to the industry. So there's an internship where you work with a company for 120 hours. We have a lot of invited talks from the industry, so you need to be applied. But then we also give you a theoretical underpinning of the various different areas, which allows for you to then appreciate why certain things are done in industry. In regards to then projects, we also try to heavily align our students with industry as well. But I don't want to sell it too much because let's have an unbiased opinion.
No, I mean, in my opinion, having a formal education, it's needed in terms of understanding the fundamentals. So it's not just with blockchain really and truly, it's with any technology, right? So having the fundamentals and the true understanding of how the technology works, it is essential. And then after you learn maybe those basics and those fundamentals, you can then apply in a practical experience. And so it's not just one industry and you're delving just within the technological industry, but then you can also have, for example, within my experience, you can also delve into other business industries within law as well. So you'll have a holistic overview, which I don't think watching just YouTube videos you can gain from.
It's very interesting what you said about having a holistic overview about the whole space. It's true because I'm also doing a master's in blockchain at the University of Nicosia, and what I find interesting is that we have really we learn about Web 2 very intensely, almost more than Web 3, because it's important to understand what are the current issues that we're facing and what blockchain can really solve, not only the blockchain for itself or crypto by themselves. So very interesting point. And do you feel like there's a demand growing for such formal education?
So there definitely is. We have a lot of international students applying for the course and coming to Malta, and even local students as well. Though I would say the local scene, the international students are far outweighing the locals. And as well, just on the previous point, we do try to give an unbiased view of what it is about. And we're not going to tell you that blockchain's for everything. Actually, the first lecture, we tell you that it's not good for a lot of things. And students say, why the hell did we sign up to a master's in blockchain then? And so we try to paint it the real way that it is. And I think that's often what you don't get in YouTube videos, where people are just shelling and selling their own tech, really. And as well, we like to call out BS when there is BS, but that's academics for you.
And how do you think that students can have the best experience? What can companies do to support students throughout, and also university can do to support students throughout their perhaps search for jobs afterwards, or to maximize their exposure to the field in a more practical way?
I think basically the most important part of it, okay, like you have the formal education, etc. But I think the educational institutions such as university and MCAST in Malta needs the industry. I think a course, a master's, whatever, is not successful if both education institutions are not in line with what the industry is, what the industry wants, what the industry is looking for. So I think the most important part of all is that both vocational institutions in Malta's case and of course the industrial companies need to meet together. Companies take students for internships and apprenticeships, offer the opportunities, and of course this will result in giving them what's the real life of blockchain and what will they actually experience once of course they graduate and of course go actually in the workplace.
What's interesting is that lately there was an EY attractiveness report, and it represented that around 66% of companies, they're not finding the skilled resources. And I think it's a matter that people need to, they need to start like some sort of from the beginning. They need to start actually gaining digital knowledge. And apart from that, there is the skills gap and the skills shortage. However, I think technologies like blockchain, so on and so forth, they need to be addressed way before secondary school. So I think it needs to be taught. The digital tools, they need to become compulsory in terms of even, it's like having a normal language and you need to learn it. So it needs to become a primary subject.
Back to the companies, often educators, they're stuck in their own world and they want to get through their curriculum. But at the end of the day, it's the industry who is really working on implementing. And it's very important that what we're teaching is relevant to the industry. Now, the lucky thing about blockchain, smart contract, crypto, that the whole world is both the industry and academia are working at the cutting edge. So the problems are very similar. And this is why we work a lot with companies on research, but also we reach out every year, to see what do we need to make sure that our program is keeping up with the trends. And obviously you can't fit in everything, but we get feedback and we try to make sure that it's as aligned as possible.
Now, this must be quite a challenge to make sure that the academic program stays up to date with the blockchain space, given the speed of the evolution of the space. So do you really feel like it can be relevant when you plan for 1 year, for example? How can you forecast everything that can, because right now, this year, 2022, no one was expecting that it would be such a shit show. Sorry. My French.
You can't, but the lecturers need to be kept up to date, and we have a particular module that runs the whole year, and that's where we fit in anything that's contemporary and relevant, and you just need to do your best, and it is tiring. I mean, year after year, I teach smart contracts. Every year, the language is changing. It's like, well, can't we just keep it one place? But that's the fun thing about working in this space. It is changing, and we like that.
I think one thing that's important even when studying technologically related subjects, it's the way that you think. So even by doing my master's or working within the industry, you learn how to be agile and how to be fast-paced in your own thinking as well. So even, again, maybe I studied blockchain, but even when it comes to understanding other technologies, it becomes, not easier, but it becomes a little bit, your approach to thinking, it's different. And you'll have that set of mind of like, okay, I'm studying this, but in a few weeks' time it might change. So you'll have that sort of mentality to always be a step before, like.
I mean, as we said earlier, basically, of course, especially the tech world in general is continuously developing. I mean, at this second that we're speaking, something else might come out new. So it is something that, okay, our education, in a way the lecturers cannot do much since most lecturers do not do the courses themselves. That's why it's up to, in a way, both the higher ups of our education institutions and the companies that I know education institutions such as MCAST are continuously holding meetings with the industry to sort of keep their courses continuously up to date. But I think it's useless having such courses if we have like companies which they want new workers, which they want especially newly graduates from which are students to work with them, and they do not sort of keep in touch with the actual education institution. of course, the companies are the people who eventually students will go work for. So it says that I want students, but I don't want to tell you what we want from students. So I think that point needs to keep on sort of matching continuously so that the industry tells the education institutions what they're looking for, and our education institutions tell the actual industry what they're teaching the students. And that is where, of course, we start reaching entry requirements and, of course, the necessary requirements that are needed to, of course, eventually students, once they graduate, they find a job.
To add that we try to teach our students to learn. So even if technology is changing, they're able on their own to go and learn the new technology, because you have to.
Yeah, so they need to develop themselves this curiosity. I think there's no other way when you work in such a high, fast-paced field.
Something that needs to be tackled, like I said, a little bit earlier on than just university, because the thing is, for example, the DESI report, again, it reported that 6.5% ICT graduates there were last year, so it's very, very low, and that's why it needs to be tackled a little bit beforehand, not just within the university. So these careers, actually, these tech careers need to be sort of promoted and marketed to the younger generations way before the university years.
I completely agree with you. Also, when it comes to traditional finance education, this is something that we're terribly lacking. And can you tell us a little bit about the career prospects of students after graduating?
Yes, so a lot of people think that blockchain tech, you can only be a programmer. It's not the case. So blockchain is affecting every aspect of life, every discipline. You can be a lawyer, you can be whatever it is that you like to be, and see how blockchain is relevant to you in that particular sector. So the types of careers that we're seeing students go into: programming, consultancy, legal advisor, management officers, auditors, it's across the board. And the only advice I would give to students is find something you love doing and keep doing that. And no matter what that is, I'm sure that there's some connection to blockchain if you want to be in blockchain.
Thank you. What about you, Nicole? What was your experience as a postgraduate of the master program?
It taught me, like I said before, it taught me the holistic approach. So it's not, I was within the business and finance stream, but it wasn't just business and finance. I had the opportunity to do my dissertation in healthcare, for example. We had the opportunity to even analyze the legal side and do a little bit of programming as well. But the thing is, when it comes to tech careers, like Joshua said, there's a misconception of being a computer scientist or doing just programming. And it's not that. I have a business background, and I still went into technology. People are lawyers and they still go into technology, just like doctors, for example. Nowadays they go into technology. So the misconception is purely that. It's you can already have a profession and shift it to the technological side.
I think, as both of them mentioned, currently the industry needs a lot, and I think what's lacking from the industry is what the industry actually offers. I think in Malta sometimes you have the mentality that, you know, the classical jobs, such as, of course, like when you grow up, I want my son to become a doctor, I want my son to become a teacher, nurse, lawyer, whatever. I think Gen Z, the actual Gen Zs are changing. Like they think different than the elder generation. But what's lacking, I think, from producing much more students and making much more students deciding to choose such courses is, I think, the lack of, in a way, advertisement and marketing of the actual courses. And that's where I agree with, sorry, I forgot your name, Nicole, that we need to start informing students beforehand that, listen, this is what the industry gets to offer. This is what you can actually find a job here, which makes like good money, etc. So I think we need to start, especially I think from secondary school, like, listen, this is a huge industry. This is a new industry which is continuously developing. This goes much further more than the classical jobs that we usually think of. So I think with more marketing, more advertisement, what the industry has to offer will lead to much more students choosing such courses and eventually graduating from them.
Thank you very much to the three of you for your participation.